Welcome to my ramblings. This episode, and we'll get to that. An interesting thing: when I was still working for the Department of Navy in San Diego, I had finished my internship, and so technically I became an employee of the Public Works Center, which somewhere somehow fits within the organization structure of NAVFAC. Um, so we were going through the base realignment and closure, and so we were getting a lot of employees from a lot of other bases. And I was relatively new, actually, just a few years in, and a lot of the people that transferred in had 10, 15 years and stuff. They started offering everybody buyouts and stuff. I mean, my buyout came to $200. No way I want to do that. The Navy they didn't want anybody, to have to be laid off, so they started moving people around into different and other careers. And for some reason, I had got transferred into the asbestos department. And what? But luckily, I had applied with a job with the Department of the Interior. Actually, I applied 2 or 3 times, but I got accepted. Um, Getting hired in the government is a 3 to 6 month process. So I think it was either the first or second time I applied. So anyway, um, so I'm sitting here and just come on, come on, come on, hurry up and process the paperwork. Well, finally they did, and so um, I had a whole. I didn't know I was going to get offered the job. So I got offered the job, and I had a whole lot of things to square away: accounts, um, organize notes, get packed and stuff. So I took like 30 days leave prior to transferring. So I got out there, and everything's going well and fine. I talked about one project in a trailer park. We mostly did irrigation water, but I guess over time we picked up a lot of customers that needed electricity, and so we also had a lot of residential and commercial loads that we serviced. Um, some of these were housing developments, some of these were trailer parks, some of these were shopping malls, but mostly it was out of the way stuff where, um, utility a utility wasn't existing and able to provide the loads, but because we provided electricity to them, certain areas were could develop. And we had another trailer park um, that they had some issues with, and so I started looking into it. Somebody was trying to tell me that, well, um, the trailer park was initially designed for smaller trailers, and then they started allowing larger RVs and full-size trailers in, and that's why they're having all the voltage problems. But still, I still had to do my engineering analysis, even though that sounded feasible. And, I figured, all the voltage drop is going to be in the transformers, and so I got out my references and went through the procedure, had some measurements. Most of the posts actually had, was it the occupants or the posts? Okay, some of them had measuring equipment and stuff, but we could deduce some of that from our kilowatt hour meters anyway. And so we looked at the load. I thought, to my surprise, and these calculations will be in the book, um, we weren't losing a lot through the transformers. Even if you projected them to be overloaded, we were still in the neighborhood of 5%, which kind of really surprised me. But hey, that's what the calculations are for. So I figured, well, the next phase of it is, or the next step of it is, well, we have the secondary that feeds out to these trailers. So I started taking a close look at that. And, decent sized cable and what have you. But what happens is, there'd be 6 to 8 feeders coming out, and they'd go to one trailer, but then they would daisy chain to the next trailer. And, by the time you daisy chain to the last trailer, uh, it had, you know, just really severe um, voltage drop overall, poor voltage regulation for the entire setup. And, so I brought this to the attention of my supervisor. Normally he wasn't stressed out, but um, little bit prior to that, he had come to me, said, because we had this one primary transfer on our main station, um, where all the offices were, that 6 to 8 weeks, every 3 months, we'd lose the fuses on the primary transformer. And he said, I want to get rid of those. And that was fine. Okay, that's a good idea. So I did some research. I looked at the transformer, what its ratings were, what have you. And so I proposed that we put a transformer differential on there. That would have solved our problem. We wouldn't have the primary fuses could be gone. We would still have primary side protection, in case there was an internal fault. The bigger transformers, you had all kinds of oil release valves and other instrumentation that was designed to handle a wide variety of issues that could come up. But at least if it was an overload, it wouldn't be something that would take the entire transformer out. We could cause a breaker to trip, in the overloaded phase, or a downstream fuse would have more time to take out the fault. But for some reason, the power manager and the other electrical engineer whose name I mentioned, they came after me after I submitted the document for that, kind of all chuckling and laughing. The differential. My thought was, geez, these guys think because I worked for the Department of Navy that the only differential protective scheme that I was aware of was a bus differential. I'm thinking, come on, there's already a couple of transformers out here that have these transformer differentials. But I think somebody had already started to exert some influence. And, well, sometime later, I was coming back into the main station there, and there were some contractors out over by a section of our power lines. So I come in, I pull in, I go in to ask the operator. This guy was the supervisor of the operator, so he had a slightly different title. I don't remember what it was. He wasn't a bad guy. He had equipped me with a radio for when I go out in the field, and advised me to make sure I take enough water with me, because a lot of people don't prepare. They get stranded on the side of the road and they dehydrate, and that sometimes they die. So he did ask me a weird question. I don't know what his thinking was. He said, "Oh, so why don't you tell me what you're doing? What, you gonna have to kill me if you tell me?" Where the hell did this shit come from? So I was thinking, no, actually, we can't do that anymore. These days, what we do is we take you and we put you out on that rock off the coast of California. I guess he didn't realize that Alcatraz had closed a long time ago, but he kind of got a little solemn after that. But anyway, so I had come in, I'd seen those contractors' trucks out there. They weren't Department of Interior trucks. So I came in. He was on the phone talking something about an outage. So he was on the phone. So I walked past him. I across the room out the other door, and here comes our power manager at an accelerated pace in his truck, and there's a lineman there. I was like, what's going on? So the lineman starts talking to him and says, well, what's this contract out there? We're the ones that do that work. Why do we have a contractor out there? And usually the supervisor was really calm and collected, but he really had a conniption fit and said, I'm going to go cancel that. But, so he raced over to his office, and I walked over there and walked in the phone. I guess he was trying to find out from somebody, hey, what the hell's going on here? Who are these guys? And, but to my surprise, apparently somebody was offering him a job at some other agency or department. He said, okay, what's the rate? And so that guy would be gone in a few days, and of course we would get a new power manager transferring in from, I forget the agency he worked at, but it was from the Department of the Interior. But that's a topic for part 2 of what? Okay, thank you for tuning in. Buy the book.